This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Inside the Huddle with Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Blackshirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up? This is Jay Foreman on this brisk Sunday morning. Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. We'll take care of all your imaging needs and get you a clear path to hopefully some pain relief. And once again, I want to thank earlier Sherry and 24/7 having me on. You know, when you start asking about my childhood, Harris, you know, at 7 o'clock in the morning, make a brother start choking up a little bit.
Me about cry? I'm not bluffing, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it's family. I'm not gonna clown on it.
Probably close, but not, you know, just because, you know, me and my grandfather we're pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I always say like this, man, when you go through like stuff, it's like you're no different than anybody else. You know, you always think like it gets probably a little bit easier, but you never forget, you know, it's and so, you know, it was a big effect on me as far as, you know, a path that I was going to go one way or other after he passed away. So it was kind of bringing back the memories, and obviously with my mom and dad pretty tight. So, you know, appreciate them having me on, man. I'd like to come back because obviously they had some more questions. Sometimes an hour goes by quick.
Yeah, but I did learn some things though. I didn't realize ball boy with Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What was he like back in the day?
Same.
Yeah.
Lane ain't changed.
I figured as much.
Cocky as all get out. He was cool. I didn't have a problem with him. He was funny though.
Oh, I bet you. I'm sure. Like back in the day, I bet you he was a pretty good hang. I imagine he was a good.
Yeah, he was a good dude. Yeah. We had some good times and stuff. Lane was real. You know, he was real smooth. He worked hard and not working hard. He was good. He was a good dude.
Yeah, that's funny.
I like Lane. I didn't have a problem with him. Wish him all the best. And I mean, he's a perfect example of in his profession. You know, stumbling a little bit. You know, probably maybe a little bit too much too soon. And then being able to recover is commendable. And now you can tell he's very comfortable where he's at. And he's a little funny, he's a little quirky, but you know, as we all are. So I always say that me and Lane were the godfathers of being ball boys, and then Larry Fitzgerald he's the crown prince because he was a ball boy at the Vikings, and obviously he ended up being a great player and a Hall of Fame player. So, you know, time goes by fast, and you know, just associations who you meet through the sport of football, you know, has a big effect on you, both in a positive and a negative way. It just depends on who it is. So, obviously for, you know, Husker sports or, you know, football, you know, is probably about to get started here. I think on classes get started Tuesday. I think they had their early move in. I saw on social media. But the portal's still open because it was a dead period. And then I think you can still probably recruit guys all the way up until today, and guys can get here. And there's always a couple week or two that you can show up to class late. At least I know I did.
Yeah. I mean, the syllabus week.
Yeah.
It'll be harder on yourself. I will say it's like I had to learn my sophomore year, like maybe it's not a good look for my teachers to see me the second week and not the first week.
Yeah,
you got to grow out of that.
You got to come in there and act like you were sick. That's hey, here, oh man,
they'll buy that. 100%.
Oh man, I'm congested. Back then, our emails were like a block long. In Nebraska, .edu. But yeah, so I mean, it'd be interesting to see what Nebraska does or finishes, or if they add some more guys. Obviously, everybody's gung ho about the 105, but I always tell people like this is like their job is to get to the 105.
Well, what's an NFL roster?
53, but it's significantly different. I will say this: I don't think every team is going to have 105 scholarships.
Well, especially the smaller schools that are competing NIL wise,
I think you're going to see variance in scholarships, and I think the lower end will only be year to year. It might even be like semester or part of the year to part of the year. So you got to, if I say if somebody was recruiting me at the lower end of a roster, it might be like only 6 months. We're going to bring you in, see if you can compete, see if you're worth keeping on the roster come fall. It's truly becoming NFL, and you got to do what you got to do. And so it's just interesting to see how you have to go about building the roster, and how rosters will continue to evolve, or you know what I'm saying, to be built and rebuilt in the short and long term. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens and what people do with it, and how Nebraska is able to operate in this new world of NIL, transfer portal, salary cap, whatever you want to call it. Now, the interesting thing is I saw where obviously the government stepped in and kind of put their take on it, where that $20.5 million that goes up over time has to be distributed. I don't know if it's evenly, but the Title IX is still in effect, where I think most of these football programs was like, or athletic departments like, okay, we'll divvy it up based on how successful your sport is. So obviously Nebraska football, men's and women's basketball and volleyball are the big ones. And you saw with the first article, I think a few weeks and maybe a month ago, is where Texas Tech said that they were going to give 70% of that towards the football program. We'll see how much that changes based on the new ruling that came out. But either way, it's definitely a different day and age of college football, different day and age for Nebraska football.
That's a good rule, though, because that helps areas that are like, because if you're in certain territories, like football is just going to always be king, and you're just never going to, none of those other sports are ever going to see that money come their way.
Right, but everybody's on scholarship. So this is where I guess you get a little bit of pushback, right? So say like tennis, right? And say like you only get normally 6 scholarships, and then you got to spread those 6. I talked to Mark Manning about it back when I was in college, where you'd always have to spread out a certain number of scholarships for more players, or more tennis players,
right.
more rest. So now, if you have 16 scholarships or 16 people on your roster, like on your team, everybody can be on scholarship. So that's where they make that money. Now, distributing the extra money, the 20.5, that has to be distributed based on probably revenue and all this other stuff. So I'm sure there'll be some. But then also look at the University of UConn, right? Obviously, it was a big deal that Creighton was able to go to beat UConn again up there. In basketball, it's probably women's basketball, men's basketball, looking at each other eye to eye.
Yeah, their women's team. I know
Right.
That's like the number one. As far as women's sports goes,
It's
they
number
generate
one, right?
the most viewership. Yeah.
So they're right there, and then men's basketball now is there, but I'd probably say women's is number one. So if you're talking about revenue sharing, it's those two, and then football is probably a distant third, right? So
yeah,
it depends on where you're at, man. I mean, look at North Carolina. No matter if Bill Belichick is there or not, basketball is king. Then probably football, and then they have great soccer. And now obviously it depends on the area, what's important to you too. Look at Duke, right, where lacrosse and basketball, obviously basketball is head and shoulders above their football team. So it's going to be interesting to see how every university approaches it, and then how they approach and handle the transfer portal, and how long guys stick around. One thing that to look out for, I would say this, and I don't know anything about pretty much anything, but I'm looking at it like right now. I wonder if you're going to be able to, because obviously the NCAA and the schools don't care how many times you transfer. That's obviously true.
Yeah, right now they don't.
If you have to be down to 105 during the season, but then you can go up to a higher number in off season. Because if that was the case, and it not by much, but if I can bring in a 20 extra guys, and plus you got to think it's actually more because you're going to have guys leaving every year, transfer portal, and time themselves out. I can bring in some extra guys, and then we can just essentially throw it all up, and you can have like almost a free agent type of tryouts. Now who's your guys that you're going to keep, but I'm talking about adding guys, really compete.
It's a risky venture for the portal guys. Maybe it fixes the portal situation a little bit too. You don't have so many guys eager to jump in.
Exactly.
When they show up to camp, there's gonna be a plus roster, and I got to make the cut.
Yeah, you ain't. Don't sign that anything past the 3 months lease.
You're still gonna get the 5 stars, 4 stars hopping in there,
and and those guys are in a different category. But we're talking about,
but those are 1%. You bring that up all the time when people talk about transfer portal. It's like most of the portal is not 4 and 3 star or 4 and 5 stars that are going to go plug and play right away.
No, the portal, the great stories out of the portal are the ones that people hear about and, hear about the money that they get and
Carson Beck,
Carson Beck and Quinn Ewers supposed to have $8
that's what it was. Quinn Ewers 10 mil. I think was the Travis Hunter was freaking out about that, or
right. And then Carson Beck gets 4, might even be more. You start out with Justin Fields going to Ohio State, all this type of stuff, right? So that's great. But in reality, most of the guys that go in the portal are your nut and bolts guys. And then there's a high percentage, probably over 50%, that never get out of the portal. That means you're in the portal. You don't get as many looks. Then you're out there without an education and a place to play football. And the portal also weeds out the guys that don't want to necessarily play football, because a lot of times, in order to get the playing time that you're seeking, you have to go down a level or down essentially from a blue blood to like a, middle of the road type of, even though it is Division I, you might have to go from, let's just say, Nebraska to Northern Illinois, Nebraska to, I wouldn't say Kansas State. I think they're bigger than that, but just something like that. If you want to get a ton of Arkansas State or something like that, Jacksonville State, you have to get a lot of reps. And so, when you think of a school like Nebraska is, I think with Coach Rule's experience, obviously in the pros, but then also looking at it from a different perspective, being able to try to not only be very competitive, recruit at a high level, which you've seen with Dylan Ariola and some of the guys in the portal, but then also an understanding that the way that you're going to win is that you're going to have to be able to develop guys. But then the pressure also is on the players as well. The only thing I like about the portal is 2 things, or this day and age of college football. The money and stuff is there. So that's a known. So if I was getting recruited and say you're my dad, it's your job, or whoever our agent is, handle that NIL. That's there if I'm good enough, right? Period.
And at least, it was always there. If you were good enough, let's be real.
Well, yeah, but I didn't get anything. Well, actually, Kansas State gave me some money. Tried to give me some money. I should have took it. I should have took it, Harrison. I still say, you know what? I didn't know where that went.
You probably would have got, if you got caught, you would have paid for it. And,
no, I
might have rescinded it today.
Yeah, but the guy that gave it to me, or would have gave it to me, family friend, he was good. It was a drop in note. I should have took it. I wouldn't have had that hoopty riding around campus and barely getting around, hubcaps falling off. But here's what I like about it. The money is there, big, small, and different. I like it because it puts, this day and age, puts pressure on, I guess, athletic departments and coaches constantly to be on their on their toes. We got to win it. There is no time is now. The time is yesterday. I like that. But also, I like it puts it on the players. You can't get too comfortable. So therefore, the things that you need to be brought out on you, being competitive, sacrificing all the things I talked about before, you got to do. Because if you get too comfortable, right, sweatsuit and steak crew, all of a sudden you go from eating filet mignon to a cube steak at a different university. Instead of having unlimited pairs of shoes, now you got 2. So you got to it makes them appreciate it more, but then also it allows the necessary true pressure for these guys to be successful. And I like that because I think it's the best thing for these kids. And then if you continue to progress and play, then you'll get paid. And if you're not able to get paid here, you'll get paid somewhere else. And then you got to continue to earn that paycheck. I mean, I don't really at this point, you know, I always say and you see this a lot in high school sports where people are quick to say, well, they're just in high school. They're just in high school. Well, if you are, that is true. But if you are in some cases and you hear it getting paid either by shoe companies in the club circuit, both football, basketball, baseball, softball, whatever it is, then you're actually the expectations is a little bit higher. Your age don't matter. So if you're here and you're getting paid NIL, I don't care how old you are, because I got to care about what you do on Saturdays. Now, I don't care as much that I'm gonna be mad at you, but ultimately, don't ask for forgiveness because you ain't live up to the expectations that you are willingly getting paid for. Now, if you're working hard and you're playing good and things happen out of your control, I don't think anybody has a problem. But if you're getting paid and you're here to just kind of just sit back and chill and then point the finger and like not the thumb, like according to Bo Pelini, well, that's where people had to look at you a little sideways.
Well, we even saw that with Dylan Rayola, and he didn't, sit around, but he didn't necessarily like. It was a good season in my regard, but just because he was getting paid, if he was anybody else, a lot of people have been happy. Like, oh, we got a good quarterback, we got a guy because he got that 5-star tag. Like,
Yeah,
you heard some conversation at the end of the season, like, he wasn't worth all that. And it's just kind of crazy to me. It's true freshman.
I think he met expectations for me.
He did for me as well.
Yeah,
I can see why some people are upset, but again, like people are just willing to look past the true freshman part because of the money.
True, but that's what we're paying you for, so that's fine.
And
he embraced it.
Both arguments are right.
You are right, but ultimately, I think that his play verified his pay and his star ranking.
Yeah, I give him
because the things that he was able to do was so drastically different than the years prior. I think that once you saw it on a regular basis, you didn't, appreciate it. Now, I think there's other things around him that needed to be better, because I said this before, and I think we said this many times on Inside the Huddle as we got towards the season. In order for this to be an extraordinary season, not only with Dylan and his team, everybody else around him has to raise their level of play. Receivers have to be better than they actually are expected to be. Running backs have to be better than they're expected to be. Line has to be better than they're expected to be. Special teams has to be as good or better than they're expected to be, and same with the defense. That's the only way you get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sit up here and say, dude, I'm bringing you in here from Buford, Georgia. Here you are. We haven't been in a bowl game in 8 years or whatever it is. Now it's all on your shoulders to do your job, line's job, running back job, receiver's job, tight end's job, coaching job, and all that. That wasn't realistic, and that's not even what they thought.
No, and that's why I was
But
surprised.
I think that's sometimes where people go sideways, because what happens is when you haven't won, you start to look at what everybody else is doing and then forget what your situation. Because it's easy to look at Indiana and say, okay, well, Kirk Signetti came in from a school that had been winning for years, right? And he brought in a bunch of older players, 17 of them, older winning players, to a place that had no expectations.
Yeah, pressure was non-existent.
But those guys, but then also those guys essentially played the same brand of football, and there's not a big difference between Indiana. There really, to be honest with you, when you're at Indiana and like if you take Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan out of the Big Ten, or Oregon, at rest of the Big Ten, there's not a big difference between what the James Madison and those teams, because they have guys that are big. Now the depth of athlete in the roster isn't there, but athlete to athlete and system to system, that's why he's able to hit the line running. Now the schedule is very, very gettable, but then also learning how to win and doing all that stuff. So you look at him and seeing like, okay, well, we need that. Well, we'll see in year 2 or 3 if it's sustainable.
Yeah, we saw that with I'm blanking on his name. Michigan State transfer portal class.
Right.
Tucker?
Yeah, Mel Tucker had the great transfer, right? Portal class. Then the next year he tried to do it, and those guys didn't pan out. The transfer portal is just like recruiting. It is a crapshoot, because what Harrison did at whatever school I call it the Mr. T starting kit. That's where we're starting. Now we got to make you get. You know who Liberace is? He was a famous dude. He just wore gold and all this other stuff. You have to Google him. So you start with the Mr. T starter kit. That's where you get there, or that's where you start. What you become here is based on what you do here. Just because you're good at somewhere else doesn't mean you're going to come here and be good. You know what I'm saying? Now, it gives you a little bit more probably ability to sleep at night, right? I'm assuming. But, it doesn't mean that you're going to be good here. Doesn't mean you're going to be successful. I mean, that's just.
I mean, yeah,
That's
Scott
just
Frost.
That's just reality, right? Reality, because Nebraska's biggest asset can be his biggest detriment is the attention that you get, and it can make you complacent and soft. And then you can also think that you're a little bit entitled to things that you're not actually entitled to. You're entitled to one thing: work your tail off and play good. After that, you'll definitely be a king's ransom and get paid, and then obviously all that stuff will go with it. I think sometimes it gets backwards, and that's everybody. But also, so as far as Nebraska goes, they're probably raring to get started. I don't know if they start winter conditioning right away, but I'm sure they kind of get together and get acclimated back into the things of college football, because now you're on to 2025. As the rest of college football is, the portal is a little bit different because we have a championship game come Monday. So I think by the following Monday, I think the portal will be done, because those players get 5 days, which kind of sucks for them, because if you're a number two, kind of like say a situational player, and you had you got a couple text messages and all that other stuff, and you got 2 or 3 schools on the hook, you're still trying to win national championship, but you also know you might have to have your eyes somewhere else. Well, the deal that you might have had 2 weeks ago might not be the deal you get 2 weeks later.
Yeah, and they can't have any communications before that. So unless they're, well, yeah, you can give me that look, yeah, but
Harrison,
you know what I mean.
Harrison, listen here.
That's the way to do it.
I'm tampering and you're tampering. Hey, I'm tampering and you're tampering.
I think if you're a third string,
I'm tampering.
Yeah.
If I'm 4th string, I'm tampering. If I'm 1st string, I'm super tampering. I guarantee. What? Yes, I'm tampering.
Yeah. Otherwise,
and you better
be
tampering with me too. We tampering together. We're doing it together. And here's the funny thing about it. Speaking of tampering, and then we'll get into the NFL playoffs. Obviously, I'm a little sad that my Texans lost those Chiefs. But
here's you're not more mad. I'll wait for you to talk about it.
I'll get into it in the next segment. There is a cornerback from Wisconsin. His last name is Lucas. Where Wisconsin withheld his, I guess, name in the portal because of Miami was tampering with him. Now, here's where Wisconsin said they had a binding contract. That goes both ways. As much as you want to hold Lucas, held hostage, if you don't think you were tampering with the guys that you got here before, is a little bit different. Now, I'm sure he's a good player. He's a freshman. He's going back home. Actually, he's coached by Daryl Porter Sr., who's a former teammate of mine. They say he's a great kid, wants to go back. Daryl Porter Jr. was a starter for 2 years for the University of Miami at corner. That's an interesting story, because you know what used to happen, Harrison, back in the day when the few guys wanted to transfer, coaches could block where you could go, what conference you could go, so forth and so on. So essentially, they could squeeze you down to staying. Okay, do I want to transfer for Nebraska and not and kind of wait my time, or do I want to go to Eastern Missouri State because I can't go to the Big 10, I can't go to the Big 12, I can't go to the ACC, I can't go anywhere there. By that time, they kind of used to manipulate the process. So that's also interesting to see if the precedent is set for Wisconsin to do that, or for Lucas to get out, because Lucas lawyered up and now obviously he just committed to Miami.
Yeah, I don't know. There's I can't even count how many more court cases we got ahead of us.
Well, just imagine the 30 for 30 or the ESPN shows afterwards.
The problem is everybody's so wrong. There's so you get into a lot of these court cases, and what you end up finding out is boy, the NCAA isn't looking great in this one, and then you hear some of the coaches like, you guys aren't quite doing it right either.
Yeah,
and then
you're like, see the players as well, and then you got the agents out there, all this type of stuff. Here's this funny thing. I'm gonna say this real quick. There was an agent, I forget, they had a quote on him, and he said the reason why they charge so much is because essentially they want all their money now, because in the NFL you get 3% over 7 years. Now we need all our money for now. So essentially they're telling you, we're screwing you over because you know what? We know you ain't gonna last more than a year. They said it without saying it.
Well, that's why you're seeing live numbers you're seeing are 15% commission, which is crazy because you're just pushing over some paperwork.
Right. Just, what do you do? Highlight, copy and paste or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sent an email out.
Yeah.
Give me 15%.
Yeah.
Of your what? That's the worst thing about NIL today is that, to me, it feels like everybody who's getting involved in NIL today or in college football today is in it for the wrong reasons outside of the athletes and coaches. Everybody else that's getting in it right now just feels like they're not here for the right reason.
For a majority, high percentage. The percentage of guys that are doing it and love to coach and love to play football.
Yeah, coaches and players are different for me.
But I'm saying the percentage of coaches and the players that love to do what they want to do because they know they're going to get paid is drastically and rapidly shrinking.
Yes.
What's really, really drastically increasing is the guys, both players, coaches, administrators, are doing it for the wrong reason. That's why it's jacked up. Also, quick update before we go to break. Kobe Bretz is going to South Dakota State. Big shout out to him. Dan Jackson will do a great job up there. Xander Rigoroli.
Oh, we got him on a walk-on last year, I think.
From Bishop Gorman.
Yeah.
He's going to ASU. Ton of potential. He probably needs to be, one more year of seasoning. Isaiah McMorris is going to Missouri State. He'll get a lot of playing time. Sincere Safulu, who was a big, long corner from IMG, is like their second team. I don't even know they had a second team. He's going to Tennessee State. And then Dwight Boodle II is going to University of North Carolina, Charlotte. So I'll see him down there. That's a diamond in the rough university. Great facilities, great, plethora of talent around there. They just got to get a coach in there that's going to be able to recruit and foster some of those players. So that's the Husker update, along with Gabe Irvin going to Kansas State. But we're going to take a quick break, come back. I'm going to give you my true, honest opinion on the Chiefs in the NFL, but then also the playoffs. Detroit Lions lost last night, unfortunately, and fortunately for DP and unfortunately for Nick. And then obviously we got my big bad Bills coming on tonight. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We'll be right back.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Right now, when you drive by Honda of Lincoln, you'll see more than 200 new Hondas and over 125 pre-owned vehicles. Hi, Charlie Stone here, and with me on the line is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, how does it feel to have so many vehicles in stock again for your customers?
Charlie, it feels amazing to see how excited our customers are. They love the ability to see, test drive, and take immediate delivery of the exact new Honda they're looking for.
Do you have some good offers to talk about?
We sure do, Charlie. We're offering financing as low as 0.9% APR up to 72 months, or great lease rates on every new Honda. It's the perfect time to drive away in the new Honda you've been dreaming of.
How about pre-owned, Andy?
We have over 125 pre-owned and certified pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Just about every make and model with prices starting at under $10,000.
Maybe it's time you experience the best, the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Allow me to get a bit sappy. For women, jewelry isn't just a gift. It's a timeless symbol of love and appreciation. You have to get this right. No fleeting trends or gadgets will make the impact. Every time she wears it, every time she gets a compliment, you win. Trust me, guys. You'll get your money worth. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com. Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100 and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Back to Inside the Huddle, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging. Here is your host, Jay Foreman.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Once again, they will take care of all your imaging needs and also help you with a clear path to hopefully some pain relief. I will tell you from personal experience, Dr. Razdan and Dr. Finn over there and their whole crew have done a really good job with helping me. For me, Harrison, dealing with NFL doctors and stuff like that, you lose a little bit of faith, but I'm telling you what, those two have, as far as helping me with giving me honest opinions of where I'm at physically, and there's a multitude of things I got going on from head to toe, and trying to timepiece everything to try to get some pain relief. They've been really, really good, and so I appreciate their help, appreciate their support. But one thing that's been supported, Harrison, is the Kansas City Chiefs.
That was a great setup.
You like that?
Yeah,
you like that. I will tell you without a doubt, I know the Patriots used to get some calls. I saw that. I played against them. And the benefit of the doubt, rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Manning. I've never seen anything to this magnitude with the Chiefs. And I know that you want to push them through. But it's been like this. And it's as simple as, was it Jermaine Taylor, the offensive tackle, not even close to lining up on the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
Being new, like offsides, the holding penalties, so forth and so on. I'm gonna talk to a couple of texts real quick. Bruce in Kansas says this: Kansas City Chiefs is offensive line, right tackle, what they go after in the draft. Who would you be looking to draft? I'll tell you this, Bruce, it does not matter. It doesn't matter. Now, their left tackle got hurt, and then they had Tooney, who was a all-pro guard. He moves to left tackle. He had a rough time against Will Anderson. Then you got Taylor, the right tackle. Listen, Bruce, I'll tell you this. You can sit back in your recliner, drink your coffee, and don't ever have to worry that whoever plays for the Chiefs offensive line will be taken care of because they can just hold and do whatever they want because Patrick Mahomes is going to get the benefit of the doubt. But I would say for a draft, I would say there's a ton of tackles that are, good out there. I could see him going for a tackle, so, they could move Taylor, keep Taylor, and then they could draft the left tackle. They got a lot of leeway to go with, or they could sign and this is what helps with Andy Reid as a former offensive line coach. He knows if there's a guy that, they could get on a bargain, maybe get 2 or 3 years out of him. You're going to go to Kansas City because you got a chance to win a championship every year. You can get some really good players at a good marketable price because they're willing to take a little bit less to be around for more years, but then also to win. So, Crowbait said he liked that segue in there.
Yeah, I tell you what, when I knew it was over? When I saw Caitlin Clark was a fan of the Chiefs too. You're going up against Kelsey, Swift, Mahomes, Clark,
and the refs.
The entire like viewers, the money, the revenue. You were going against the entire revenue.
And
of
it's
sports.
The first time that you saw the first time that you saw the first game for Kansas City. If Kansas City had to play in the first weekend, you might get a little bit, fair, more fair outcome or referee. But I will tell you this. Now, this is just straight up. I do understand they have to address this quarterback issue as far as sliding.
Me and DeMornay Pearsonell talked about it because it was about a month ago because we were talking about Mahomes doing this. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's totally unfair to the defensive players.
Well,
and you constantly preach player safety, but you're going to let your quarterback.
Well, first of all, a defensive player can get hurt.
Exactly.
By pulling up. You saw the two Texans defenders hit each other and still got penalized. But then also, if you're going to slide, you have to give yourself up there early because you got to think there was I think maybe last year in the playoffs or even during the regular seasons. It was during the regular season when against Carolina, I think, right? I'm looking at it right here. Patrick Mahomes acted like he was going to run out of bounds.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody pulled up because he's the quarterback. He's Patrick Mahomes. He ran for like 30 yards.
Yeah. Then you saw Caleb Williams early in the regular season try to make that maneuver.
Yeah.
He nearly got killed.
Right.
His back nearly got broke because the defenders weren't buying it. But I can't help but imagine if that was Mahomes.
Oh, like you getting a big fine.
Yeah,
and you suspended.
There's a lot of Bears fans upset that they didn't throw a flag on it for unnecessary roughness. But I'm like, hey, Caleb was trying to be shifty with it. He got caught. That's a hit you take. No flag. And I actually thought it was the right call.
For the quarterback safety, for the league, for the reputation, they need to
be trained to go give themselves up.
Yeah, and even at the college level too. Because let me tell you something, especially at the college level, you're gonna run up in there and get pistol whipped. Then I'm gonna tell you right now, if it was me, if I know I'm gonna get fined, I'm gonna take come playoff time. I'm trying to take you out.
What's the fake slide rule enacted in college football after Kenny Pickett? What's that all?
I think you get a penalty.
You get a penalty. Is it just? I can't remember how they preface it.
You just go down right there. But let me tell you something. And let me tell you this, Harrison. When you play in the playoffs, you get paid your 18 weeks. Okay, so you did it. Every playoff game, everybody's getting paid the same. So if it's $10,000 for the wild card round, then it's 15 for the owners making it money hand over fist. So if it's like 15 for a second round, Patrick, I'm telling you this right now. I'll tell him, bro, if you do not slide, I said I am trying to take you out of the game because if I just barely hit you, it's 15 yards. Okay. Now, if I hit you hard, it's 15 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely, even if I barely touch you, I'm getting a fine. And if I can take you out of the game within reason and we can win, the money that we'll make and the glory we'll get from the Super Bowl, all predicated on you trying to get an extra yard, I think it's worth it.
I mean, at that point,
I got to put you to sleep.
They're not giving you any options.
But I'm trying to put you to sleep, though. Out the game. Like your boy Jared Goff. Hey, Jared Goff got forklifted. You run over there, tiptoeing with your weapon on safety. I'm going to tell you what Reggie Herring used to tell me. We were playing Pittsburgh one time. And they had Jerome Bettis, and they had this fullback he was laying guys out, and they had Alan Faneca. He said, hey, you run up in there in that club, in that street fight with your weapon on safety, you're going to get pistol whipped. And really what he was saying, you better be ready at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Goff got boy. Hey, Wake up, Jack.
Yeah, that was.
Did you not see him? Give yourself up. You ain't making a tackle. Sleep too. But see, that's what happens in the playoffs. Who's going? Now, granted, it costs you a little money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna appeal it. Try to get some of it back. And if we win the next game, all is good.
Yeah, you're not sweating over it.
Not sweating over it. But I'm gonna try to put you to sleep, man. That's the difference between regular season and the playoffs. You playing for keeps, man. Like you're playing. If you're able to get to a Super Bowl and push through, that's why people talk to me about the Music City Miracle. I do not like talking about it. It ain't funny to me. Like I still think that was a forward pass. If we go to the Super Bowl. Everybody's career changes. Wade Phillips probably doesn't get ran out of there because of that. Probably playing Buffalo a few more years. You don't understand the difference of like the tuck rule versus for the Raiders and the path that the Raiders went after that and the Patriots. That essentially sent them into a whole new stratosphere.
Mm-hmm.
It sent the Raiders back where they should be, dungeons of hell, and haven't gotten out of it since. And so with the Chiefs, my opinion is this, man. This is what you have to do, and they say it, and the Texans need to understand. Look, that once you get off the plane, okay, you just got to envision you're down by a touchdown because of the refs. You cannot. You have to play aggressive, but this is what the Patriots used to do. You have to play cautiously aggressive. Here's how important it is. I know. Look, when you come in as a defensive player, first of all, Boyd, number 17.
I want to ask you about that.
You're an idiot.
That was too horrendous, just back to back. What that get?
Listen, dude. Here's what I would ask him. And this is a form of, you think you more jacked up to play this game than me?
No.
You just running down on kickoff. Now, granted, he made a great play, which again, we're going, they starting the game off, so you ain't getting no calls. Okay? They say, listen, welcome to the party. You know what I'm saying? You're here for a short time. We're here for a long time. Pretty much. That was a fumble, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right, Harrison?
Yep.
Okay. So I understand that you hype, right? I do. Look, and he's a young player, and I knew he didn't push the coach in. I've been there before because me and Reggie Herring we used to get after each other, you know. So the emotion is there, and I do understand the magnitude. I don't understand how that isn't a fumble, but I do understand it because it's the Chiefs. So I do understand. I kind of get it, but then after throwing your helmet, listen, you do that in the Pee Wee League. Penalty.
Mm-hmm.
You do it in high school, penalty. You do it in college, penalty. League, penalty. That's just flat out stupidity. I do understand it, but I don't understand it more importantly. Those are the things you can't do against the Chiefs. Against the Chiefs, you can't chance it getting down to the end of the game. They're the type, and I will say this. I love Game of Thrones, and I'll tell you this is the analogy. Ned Stark had to do something he didn't want to do. But he told his son, sometimes you can't play around with your opponents. You have to kill them. And with the Chiefs, you got to beat them. And then you got to keep the refs at bay. And how do you do that? No stupid penalties, right? Don't leave a chance. And I would say this, I love Will Anderson. I think he's great. But the hit on Mahomes, which was a bad call, you have to expect. Okay, when you come in against a quarterback, you want to get as many hits on him as you can. If there's a chance that they could call anything, you just got to shove them. I hate saying
it's not true because Mahomes got shoved on the sideline and flopped, and he got a penalty.
Right, but I'm saying the one that he got supposedly the head.
I know what you're saying.
And you know what's worse about it? And I'm gonna give Troy Aikman kudos. He's a former quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He used to get railed, cracked, killed. He even knows when he says it. His counterpart says it, and then their ref guy says that's not a penalty. Those are game-changing penalties. That's where the problem, I think, where people have, and this is where the Houston Texans are right, whereas like that penalty in the beginning, in that first drive, gave them 7 points. The next play, they hit Kelsey for 30 yards, touchdown. Like you're affecting people's lives here. It's not Houston's fault that Kansas City didn't come to play.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And yes, is Houston as aesthetically pleasing this year as versus last year? No.
But neither is the Chiefs. That's the thing about the Chiefs. Chiefs offense this year, and that's where you're right about the penalties. Like they're not blowing teams out of the water. They're pretty low scoring. Very rarely is this team getting over 30 points in a game. This is another one of those where it's like those penalties. This is gonna be another somewhat low scoring affair, unless you just
the Chiefs aren't the same Chiefs. It's very commendable what they're doing. They're more defensive oriented. But then also when the problem with the like with games now, even in college, you have so many like cameras and viewerships and angles, and you know that they're not penalties. And then you guys have replay because you got to think, and they're able to go back and replay it, and they just went right on to the next play. Yeah. So now you're like doubling down. It's like, here's an analogy. You remember last year when Nebraska played Purdue at home, or was it 2 years ago when that guy traveled? It was 2 years ago when the guy traveled, and then they didn't call it. Remember it was at half court and it was out in the middle of nowhere.
That was I think it was 2 years. But that was like this year with Iowa. Remember, they get the reach on Bryce Williams, slap him across the body, don't call it, shove Bryce Williams to the floor, don't call that one, and then the double dribble 2 feet in front of the ref, right at half court.
It's the same thing. Don't call it. When you're missing the easy ones, that's where people get upset, and that's where the Chiefs are at. And then also for the Chiefs to have championship pedigree, which I think once they got Houston down, that's where it showed up. It kind of nullifies that. But you know what? Patrick Mahomes and them don't care because all that's going to be to the wayside if they play Buffalo or Baltimore next week. Here's also, Crowbait says here, he said, careful. Keep talking about the Chiefs and you're going to get some angry Chief fans texting. I don't really care.
I'll be honest. Different tone this year. My brother, big Chiefs fan. They kind of know.
They know.
They know. They don't like pounding their chest as much
and
this year.
ain't a lot of people wearing Chiefs stuff. And here's my man, Bruce in Kansas says, as a lifelong Chiefs fan, it's embarrassing what the refs are doing. I used to get upset with the Patriots favoritism also. So it's a product of winning. It's a product of pushing you through, but then also you got to win and do the things. In another example of not doing the things you need to do to win, real quick, is how Detroit played against the Washington Commanders. You have 5 turnovers. You look lifeless. You don't even give the refs a chance to help you out. Because let's be honest, the Detroit Lions would be the story that's actually as sellable as the Chiefs, and they didn't handle their business the first time being the number 1 seed. And what we didn't handle our business getting into some of the other games, but we're going to get to them in the next segment. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We'll be right back.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to Inside the Huddle with Jay Foreman, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up, Jay Foreman? Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. All your imaging needs and help will be there. Dr. Finn and Dr. Razan and staff will help you. Detroit Lions, a great season, but you saw towards the end of the season, they were hanging on by a thread. I think the injuries really, really hurt them, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Aiden Hutchinson, numerous defensive backs. The really good defensive back that had a great career game against Justin Jefferson. He literally, unfortunately, I saw he broke his arm in half. That was gruesome. So when you lose him, that kind of takes the wind out of your sails. And, they tried to hold it together. Plus, you have two coordinators. Most likely, they're going to be head coaches. So there is your bandwidth is stretched. And they just didn't play well. And Jared Goff had 5 turnovers. Some of them are on his own. And then Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders for the second week in a row, no turnovers, and they made plays when they need to. So that's how you get upset city and give up 45 points on defense. And then obviously Washington did a really good job of closing in the fourth quarter, outscoring Detroit 14-3. So that was just a nail in the coffin. So forth and so on. Plus Washington's offensive line didn't give up a sack. So, but to today, 2 games. Philly hosting the Rams. I don't think it'll be quite the same blowout as it was when they played weeks prior. But I think Philly will win. It will be close, but I think Philly will win. And I think the running game of Philly and the defense of the Rams is going to be a little bit sterner test than the Vikings. So Philly would probably most likely host Washington Commanders. And I think when you have 2 division rivals that play with a hot quarterback and a really good defensive-minded coach and a really good culture coach, anything's up in the air. So You never know what can happen next week if it holds true. But the most important game, Harrison, Buffalo Bills.
This one is important because there's a lot at stake here.
Listen, Buffalo Bills at the crib with the weather conditions.
Yeah, what is the high now in Buffalo? I thought it was like
20 with the 20 inches of snow, are taking on Lamar Jackson, probably most likely MVP, going against what was assumptive MVP is Josh Allen, hosting him and bringing Derrick Henry. That's got to stop today. I'm picking the Bills, and whoever wins this game is going to the Super Bowl. This is the AFC Championship right now.
I like it. If this is the AFC Championship, I love it.
I love
I'm good with either of those guys.
Buffalo has got to. We've got to do it. Packer fan 72. He said, "Love it." What did he say? Go Washington. He's like, the hell with the Lions.
I will say this real quick to wrap things up. Tough showing for the NFC North. All this regular season talk, just did not win a single playoff game.
But did you? I must say, I'm a Vikings fan. Did you really believe in them? Did you?
No. But I also believed in my Bears at the beginning of the year.
I did not believe in Sam Darnold. When that game against Detroit let me know everything.
Oh, he lost some money on it too. That's for sure.
But it'll be all right though. He got paid. Anyways, and he upgraded in other ways too. So good job on you, Sam. Anyways, appreciate you guys listening. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We'll holler at you next week.